We are actually starting a new unit today. This is Unit 10, and it's about great Americans. And this is going to be all about American presidents and what it takes to be a good leader and why their leadership is important. So, we're going to have a lot of great selections in here. Today, the selection has no illustrations, so I'll just be reading it to you. And before we get started, I wanted to talk about leaders. And there are leaders everywhere you go. At the school, the leaders are, the principals, the teachers, and there are even kids that are leaders in the classroom because they show the other kids how to act by being a good example. So there are leaders everywhere. There are leaders in our city. There's the mayor, the leader in our state, the governor, and the leader of the whole United States of America, our president. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we do, some vocabulary. The word qualities is one of our vocabulary words. And qualities just means what makes a person who they are, or what makes a thing who they are. So if you have qualities of being kind and mannerly, when someone would describe your qualities, they would say, oh, what a nice kid that, they are. That's what makes you a nice kid, those qualities. That's what makes you who you are. The other thing, the other word is military. And military is like a fighting force. It's like your Army, your Navy, your Air Force, your Marines, your Coast Guard. It's a fighting force. It's a protective force. The essential question I want you to think about is I just want you to think about the importance of an American president and why they need to be good leaders, why they need to be good leaders. So let's go ahead and read Leaders Needed, and it's by Anthony Kobayashi. Ooh, that's a mouthful. Okay, so wherever you go, groups of people are usually all around. All groups need leaders to help them know what and to do and how. Your family has at least one leader, like your parent or your aunt or your uncle or maybe your grandparent. Your class also has a leader, your teacher. Your school has a leader, the principal. We talked about all those things, right? We are all part of one large group, the United States of America. Our country or nation has many groups within it, as well as many different leaders. Together, the leaders of our nation make up our government. Let's talk about one of our country's leaders, the president. We have many national leaders, but the president is probably the one that you've heard about the most. Becoming president is very difficult to do. Every 4 years, the people of the United States choose a president in an election. Sometimes the people choose the same president twice in a row. That's 8 years total, which is even older than you are. After that, though, someone else must become president. Our nation has had more than 40 presidents. Anyone who wants to be president has to be at least 35 years old. Are the adults in your family old enough to be president? The president must be born in the United States. He or she must have lived here for at least 14 years as well. So they could be born here, move someplace else, and move back, but they have to have lived here for at least 14 years. Those are the only qualities the president must have, according to the nation's rules. The American people also look for many other qualities in a candidate that wants to be president. First, a candidate must be a good leader. Usually that person will have been in another kind of government. He'll have already been a leader somewhere. He or she might run a large city or a state or a business, or the presidential candidate may have been some type of lawmaker. So they may have been in Congress or the Senate, or maybe they were a judge. Not only do the American people want a leader for president, but they also want a president that works hard. That's another quality. The president works every day of the week, all year long. If the president is needed in the middle of the night, he or she must get up and do that work. Notice I say he or she, because guess what? A girl hasn't been president yet, but they can be. The president may travel or take a vacation, but he or she is never off duty. If something happens, the president must return to work. That's part of the leader's job. In addition, a candidate must be a good speaker. That's another quality that he must have, a good speaker, because the president gives so many speeches. He or she will meet new people all over the world, so he must be friendly. Another quality because he or she will work with many different people to do the things that need to get done. The candidate must be able to get along with people. The president leads the military force that protects our country. Remember, military force is a fighting force like the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. So the American people also want someone who is brave because there are many, many laws to follow and rules to remember. The president must read well and study well. So there's a tip for you. If you want to be president someday, a quality that you'll need to have is be a good reader and be good at studying. Anyone who wants to be president must also be willing to stick to their goals because many people will have their own ideas that they want the president to follow. Oh my goodness, the president needs to have lots and lots of good qualities, right? Once the president begins a new term or time as president, he or she cannot do just anything. The president must follow the rules and the laws of the United States, just like everyone else. Parts of the job mean working with other government leaders, called Congress, to do what's best for the people of our country. The president and Congress do not agree on everything. Sometimes they disagree strongly and publicly. Then they must talk about their disagreements. Each side must listen to what the other side has to say. I wish our leaders would hear that. They must talk about their disagreements. Each side must listen to what the other side has to say. They must find ways to agree. Sometimes they make compromises. In a compromise, each side gives up a little part of what they want so that they can reach an agreement. And we practice that at school, right? We compromise with each other. We share and do things so that things are fair. Like the rules we follow in kindergarten, the president and Congress must share and be patient and get along with others. They must think about everyone and decide what is best for our country. Good leaders are important to our nation. So it goes back to what I always say. Everything I needed to know, I learned in kindergarten, right? All of those things we are already starting to work on. And I will make sure that I include the discussion starters so that you can talk with your big person about those qualities of a president and maybe even talk about if you would make a good president.